Landlords, homeowners, business owners, and people who own stock could be hit by a misguided proposal in the city of Portland, Oregon to put a capital gains tax on the ballot, which would basically pay for attorneys to fight evictions. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of one of those places, okay? When I'm talking about those places, you know what I mean. Those far left-leaning progressive places where there's tons of anti-landlord laws, rules, and regulations, okay? Places where you probably don't want to be a small landlord in particular, but any landlord in general, okay? So I'm talking about Portland, Oregon, okay? And once again, they've come up with a new way to make landlords' lives a living hell. And that is with this proposed capital gains tax. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to, help tenants fight their evictions. And their proposal to do that was a capital gains tax on the sale of properties so that they could pay for these tenant lawyers. The only problem is that the proposal they threw out there was just a capital gains tax in general. So it could hit homeowners, it could hit business owners, it could hit people who own stocks and bonds, who whenever they sell their investments and they, normally would only be subject to a capital gains tax. Well, guess what? They'd be hit with this local capital gains tax as well. And it starts off as just a little small amount, but it has the ability within the rule that they proposed to be increased. And believe me when I say they're going to try to hit real estate investors and landlords particularly hard because they think that, we're super rich and that we can just suffer and pay, for their ridiculous proposals. They think that they're going to be tapping into a piggy bank. Well, my suggestion is, just don't let this pass. Okay, if you're up in Oregon right now, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to go over this article so that other people in this country know what kind of ridiculous ideas are being proposed up there. So, you need to watch out for this sort of thing coming to your area as well. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think of a capital gains tax that particularly is targeting real estate investors who are selling their property to pay for whatever ridiculous government program or more bureaucracy that they can think of? Okay, that angers me. I'm one of those people who just hey, we need less taxes, not more. Okay, tax money never has help prevent people from getting evicted. Okay, it doesn't happen. It doesn't help when more government is added on. We have enough rules, we have enough regulations already. We don't need more. Okay, I'm not even one of those libertarian types who believes in no government. All I'm saying is that, hey, what we have already is enough. Okay, and we definitely could cut back in some ways, but more is ridiculous, okay? Anyway, this article is coming from OregonLive.com, and it says, supporters of a capital gains tax to help tenants facing eviction push forward on initiative after legal decision. Yeah, and they're going to go over the specifics of this in this article, so let's get into it. Backers of a proposed capital gains tax that would provide lawyers to tenants facing eviction are mounting a signature gathering effort in hopes of getting the initiative on the November ballot after a Multnomah County judge ruled last month that the proposal could move forward with modified language. The ruling comes in response to a challenge filed by the Portland Business Alliance in March, contending that the language for the proposed ballot measure failed to adequately explain what it would do or how the tax would be levied. Multnomah County Circuit Judge Catherine Von Terstege ruled partially in favor of the business group May 25th, making several modifications to the ballot title question, summary, and explanatory statement. The ruling was not made public until earlier this week. So already, this Portland Business Alliance is fighting against this, right? They're saying, hey, this ballot measure that these activists and that these far left progressives have thrown out there, it's ridiculous, and it didn't adequately explain what the tax would do or how it would be levied. and the judge agreed, but unfortunately the judge they made small modifications to this and they put it on the ballot. So in a place like Portland, okay, and we're talking about a very far left-leaning progressive place here, believe me when I say this could be awful for property owners, for business owners, for anybody who would have to be subject to this capital gains tax. So my suggestion would be, get the word out there. If they need to advertise, if it does get put on the ballot, they need to fight against it and say exactly how this could hurt anybody. This could easily hurt people who aren't property owners or landlords. Okay, I don't see, I'm going to go over the specifics of it later, but I don't know if it even specifies if you pay capital gains on your stocks that you're selling, are you going to be forced to pay this capital gains tax as well? And what happens if they increase the amount of this capital gains tax? Where does all this money go other than just to this, eviction fund to pay for lawyers for these tenants? Okay, if there's a huge surplus, are they just going to put it in the general fund, or do people get refunds? Basically what I'm saying is this is a nightmare, and it's thrown together by some far left ridiculous progressives who have no clue about how businesses work, about how being a landlord works, about how capital gains works, because they don't pay capital gains. They're just like, oh, we're going to make someone else pay for this, not us, but someone else is going to pay for this. Yeah, well, it is going to be you paying for it, and you're going to pay for it through higher costs at your local businesses. You're going to pay for it through higher rents at your local housing, okay? Shortages of housing, because a lot of people are just going to get out of the business. They're not going to own property in Portland. A lot of people don't want to have businesses in Portland if they're going to be subject to all these taxes, where if you go to a different county, you don't have to pay those taxes. So why would you want your business in this county if you can move to the county right next door and save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes? You wouldn't, okay? You wouldn't want your business in that county. And that's what they don't understand. Okay, let me keep going here because I want to really get into what this proposal says in it. So John Bethencourt, a coordinator of the Eviction Representation for All initiative, acknowledged that could be a tall order. He said if the coalition of tenants' rights and community groups backing the initiative are unable to collect the required signatures in time for the November ballot, they will instead try to get it on the May 2023 ballot. So they have to get the right number of signatures. So, don't sign this. There needs to be something out there to fight against this. But a lot of people who are ignorant of the law, ignorant of the way the system works, are going to just sign without even thinking. But anyway, let's skip down a little bit in this article. And okay, it says the initiative would levy a county-wide adjustable 0.75% capital gains tax to fund a program that would provide free legal representation for all tenants facing eviction. The business group said in its challenge that the wording in the initiative was misleading because the legal representation would not only be provided to residential tenants facing evictions, but in a broad array of cases, including counterclaims, appeals, collection actions, appeals to maintain assistance under federal Section 8 rent assistance, administrative hearings with the Portland Public Housing Authority, post-foreclosure matters, removal of illegal trespassers and squatters, and more. So they made it so broad that all these other groups would be protected by it too, including squatters. Squatters would get free legal providers. Could you believe that? I've covered a couple of stories about squatters recently, and obviously I am not happy with the way a lot of these cities treat squatters as tenants. So it would be even worse if they provided free lawyers for them. But also people who are getting foreclosed, counterclaims, appeals, collections actions, etc. Everybody, all these people would get free lawyers. Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to specifically target landlords. Well, I don't want them to target anyone. Any business shouldn't be targeted, and no single party in a civil suit should ever be provided with a free lawyer. That's ridiculous. Well, this person over here, they're lower income than this person over here, so therefore this one gets a free lawyer. No, you either provide free lawyers to everyone or you provide free lawyers to no one. That's the way I see it. You're creating an unfair system where a landlord has to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket for their own legal, representation. Meanwhile, the tenant doesn't have to pay anything, doesn't have to pay their rent, gets all these extra protections. Basically, you're giving them a huge handout on the backs of the landlords, and then you're giving them protection from the lawyer on top of that. So it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And let's go into this tax, a 0.75% capital gains tax to fund a program that would provide free legal representation. So you know what that's going to do, right? When you talk about places like Canada, right? Canada does not have a system of, like a 1031 exchange. And I believe that if you sell your property in Canada, you pay the same income tax on it as you would, just from any regular income. So they don't have a lower capital gains tax. But you know what that does? A lot of landlords then are discouraged from actually selling their properties. So you have these properties that are, held by landlords for darn near ever, if possible. They're passing it on through the generations. They never switch hands. And especially when it comes to properties that are owned by companies, there's a lot less turnover in the property market up there because of that. So, that's one of the problems that, high capital gains tax would create. But the other thing that they mentioned there is that it is adjustable. And yeah, it'll start at 0.75%. But the next time they need a little bit of money for whatever project or whatever piece of bureaucracy that they're trying to promote, they're going to raise that tax. They like hitting landlords. They think we're just going to, take more money from them. That's what they do. They're always coming after landlords. They're always coming after our money. And they think that, we are this evil, greedy, whatever, right? When the truth of the matter is their policies, their rules, their regulations, their bureaucracy is what creates these high housing prices, not landlords. Landlords are only working within the markets, okay? We work within the market. We cannot charge 1 penny higher than the market is willing to pay. We can't, okay? If we did, nobody would rent our place. So as long as the market says, hey, this is what your place can be rented for, then we are charging what the market is dictating, okay? Now, a lot of landlords charge below that, but we don't get any credit for that. There's tons of landlords who are renting their place for below market rate, and nobody's like going out there and saying, hey, thank you so much. You're doing a great job providing this lower cost housing. No, they still think you're greedy. They still think that you're a leech on society. But whatever. I don't give a crap what they think, okay? All I'm saying is they got to fight this, okay? This is wrong. There shouldn't be any special capital gains tax specifically targeting landlords or anyone else for that matter. We already have enough taxes. They already have enough money. Tenants don't need a special fund for lawyers. Tenants don't need the government to pay for their lawyers at all, in my opinion. But hey, this is what happens when you have a system set up in some of these cities and states that is so progressive, so left-leaning, so anti-landlord, so anti-property rights. Okay, this is exactly what you can expect.